Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting inspiring people, engaging topics, and small businesses. And while you're here, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel, as well as like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. You never know what you're going to see. All right, y'all. So, leadership, right? Everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. Everybody understands that it's a good thing to have. But what's good leadership? Who is it for? Can you learn it, or are you just naturally born with it? I don't know either. So today we're going to talk to somebody who's going to talk to us about leadership, what it is, how we get it, and how best to really make an impact with our team. Everybody, please say hello to Jennifer Watson. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Oh, it's so good to be here, Ricky. I'm ready to play with you and just talk about one of my favorite topics, leadership, and an honor to serve your community for sure.
Oh my gosh, you're already done. Thank y'all for coming. No, I'm kidding. All right. First of all, Jennifer, before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're located.
So I live currently in Greenville, South Carolina, but my journey as an entrepreneur and serving the way I've served has taken me to so many areas of the United States and been out west, Midwest, and now here on the East Coast. And my journey to what I do now has just always been rooted in I love to be a high performer in the things I give to the world. I want to master my craft because I know when I'm at a highest level of myself in that thing I want to give to the world, everybody else benefits more. And it started when I was a high level two-time All-American track athlete. I transitioned into having my own holistic physical therapy practice where I got to help optimize health for so many diverse people. And now where I'm currently at, where I am now a wellness and performance coach for leaders that are ready to take their mission, their impact in a more powerful way with ease and flow and vitality to the world. And I'm going to speak on
Wow.
stages to talk about that on aspects of wellness, on
Mhm.
aspects of performance, and on how those things actually influence leadership in a powerful way. So that's why I'm here, my friend. And that's a little bit about my story.
Wow, there's so much to unpack in that, and I totally can't wait to get to it. One of the things that I knew about you, but I want to just briefly chat a little bit about it. So you were an athlete,
Yeah.
first of all. Where did you start? Was that in college for you?
Yep, so I knew from a very young age, I played a lot of sports when I was in middle school and high school, and I found out
Right.
that I was very fast, and ultimately became my meal ticket for a
Wow.
full ride scholarship to Wisconsin-Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison, in a D1 school where I
Oh
was
my
able to
gosh.
become a two-time All-American. And it's funny you should mention that, Ricky, because that's where I started getting what
Mhm.
true wellness was. That's when I started understanding how to lead. I was one of the captains on the team, and I learned a lot of my wellness tools. I even use to this day and leadership tools
Mhm.
from 18 when I actually just jumped into that at Wisconsin, knowing
Mhm.
how to balance being a student and then also trying to be
Yeah.
working at a sport. So I learned a lot of things in that space.
Mhm.
And I'm so honored to have started my desire and performance and combining that with leadership and impacting the world in a powerful way. But it
Yeah.
was a great, unique experience as a student athlete.
I think that is so great because so many of us, as entrepreneurs and all the things, we were athletes. Growing up, I did way too many things, much to the chagrin of my parents, but did so many things. Got a
Yeah,
scholarship to go to school because of some of the things that I did. And it was a
yeah,
blessing, but not realizing what leadership
yeah.
what was being developed at that time. So fast forward, let's just get into the leadership part because there's so many entrepreneurs watching this, high performing folks who love what they do, who are good at what they do, but their teams can't seem to measure up. So
Mm.
here's my first question. Jennifer, what is wrong with leaders today? What is happening?
Yeah, gosh, that is such a deep question. And the
Mhm.
reason why, because I think there's a lot of different layers to that answer. And I think
Mhm.
leadership, for one, I believe in foundational leadership. There's a lot of good books out there. You guys, we've probably a
Yeah.
lot of us that are listening to the show have even read some of them, have maybe gone to some powerful conferences. But I truly believe, especially post 2020, that we as leaders need
Mhm.
to access leadership in a very, very, very different way.
Yeah.
um, what I would say a leader truly is, because all of us have our different definition, and I believe you have to
Right.
start with what that is for each of you. But I'll
Mhm.
say what I believe it is, especially post 2020. As a leader, you're here to influence the people around you
Mhm.
for good. Whatever it is that you're
Yeah.
leading the vision or mission on, you have to learn how
Mhm.
to leverage your gifting, your what I call frequency, your energy, and the people around you to
Yeah.
move your cause more powerfully in an accelerated way. I
Mhm.
believe that leaders at your core should be high influencers. High
Mhm.
influencers, because there's so much going on in the world today where there's changes and problems coming at us more fast paced. There's
Right.
all this news and all this things happening in the world around us, not only in our
Mhm.
business. So I believe that there's more we can go into deeper here, everyone, but from
Right.
our core to stay ahead of it, to be able to create impact for good that you want to lead, you
Mhm.
have to know, truly know at your core how to influence your client, your team, your community, whoever you're trying to impact at a more
Mhm.
powerful, accelerated rate, no matter the change, adversity, internal or external. When
Wow.
you as a leader know how to do that, I believe some of these other things we can talk about actually fall into place. And I believe that's the number one thing, not only the number one
Mhm.
definition, but number one thing that is needed for the leader of today to actually get what you just asked, their team to jump on board, to
Yeah.
actually be a part of their mission in ease and
Mhm.
flow, create a team culture that actually is high performing no matter the environment in game on. And
Mhm.
there's ways of doing that. And that's something I teach a lot of my leaders that come through my programs of how to do that in a very
Mhm.
structured way, what I call in a chemistry way. There's a chemistry to this. There's an
Yeah.
equation. I talk a lot about your mind and
Mhm.
your body as a leader. I'm a wellness practitioner by trade. So I look at leadership through the wellness lens. And when you
Mhm.
start doing that, I find a lot of these influential pieces I'm talking about
Right.
start getting this team that naturally can't help but want to be a part of your cause in a powerful way.
Mhm.
And we learn how to do that, which we can go through today. I think a lot of this other stuff that we're not
Yeah.
getting from our teams and some of these hurdles we're having actually become a lot easier to go through when you understand how to do this.
That's so good. So now, Jennifer, let's talk to the new business owner.
Yeah.
I'm really good at what I do. I have 6 people that work with me,
Yeah.
and I'm doing all the things, but they don't seem to be jumping on board. Am I a bad leader, or are they just really bad followers?
Right, right. This is such a great question. And everybody, I'm going to take a high and right on this because I think what we, as leaders, I've done this in the past. You guys, I'm giving you some juju and things I've learned along the way.
Mhm.
A lot of times when we're seeing that someone or a collective group of our team is not getting their stuff together, we
Mhm.
feel like we've, quote, I'll put air quotes, have done everything, whether give them the systems, give them the communication, whatever, and we're still frustrated. Everyone, I want you to take a deep breath, exhale, and settle. And I'm
Ooh,
telling you right now, there's a lot of what I call psychology and energetics behind this. And what I mean is this. How many of you have heard, everybody can raise their hand kind of where they're at in their room or driving as they're listening to this, have heard the phrase, you draw in, you attract what you are,
I'm
right?
raising my hand. Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. Leaders, the same thing goes in leadership. Sometimes it is some structural things. You haven't given the right framework, the right communication. You haven't learned the way that they engage more powerfully. But 9 times out of 10, when leaders are having this problem, they're drawing in things that they are actually themselves struggling with.
Ooh-wee.
What do I mean by that, everyone? And I'm going to use myself as an example. I remember when I first started my PT practice and I felt that my team, they weren't quite getting it. And I was getting frustrated. And I started going to the deeper root of it that I actually wasn't trusting that they
Mhm.
could get the job done as well as me. How many of you leaders that are expanding your business feel that sometimes?
I'm
And when
raising my hand again. Go ahead.
Yes, and when I went deeper to that, I realized I didn't trust myself on the way that I was always training them, that I felt like I wasn't a good enough leader, like there was something where I wasn't trusting myself. So here it is, I'm not trusting a team
Mhm.
to do the things I'm wanting to delegate to them. That was the big superficial problem. Then I went
Yeah.
deeper yet and I'm like, wow, I'm not fully trusting myself. It was a new business. It was a new holistic practice in an area where traditional care was needed more. I was second guessing myself. So, the reason why this is important, everybody, if you don't trust yourself, I just gave myself an example, you're going to draw in a team that doesn't trust you and that is going to be
Wow.
kind of dicey on whether they should do something or not. and vice versa. It's just
Yeah.
like when you go into a room, you can tell everyone where someone may be lying to you or being honest with you. And not that all of us can tell that all the time, but what I will
Sure.
say, everybody, it's the same energy. When you as a leader are telling someone to do something and you're not even trusting, and I'm using myself as an example, on
Mhm.
what you're giving them because you're not sure and having confidence that it's the right thing to do and you're not trusting yourself, they're going to feel that, whether it be conscious or subconscious. And what happens, everyone? The
Wow.
behavior starts to be as such. We start
Mhm.
getting them like questioning or not giving 100%. And by the way, you guys, this is really high level, but the reason why I'm telling you this, we often as leaders, when we're frustrated with our team, we want them to be all in and make it ease and flow and have an epic team culture that brings profit and productivity
Mhm.
and performance. We go after, what am I doing around communication? What are they not getting from this?
Yeah.
Forcing like structure. Maybe I'm not giving the right frameworks, having all these meetings after meeting, not getting anywhere. And what I
Mhm.
have found, everybody, after coaching so many high level leaders that are doing great things, is it often comes down to the psychology, the energetics, that it's actually mirroring something in you that you
Mm.
need to work on. I have literally, when I started trusting myself, when I started working on what I believed my mission and vision should be for the PT practice, you guys. I got
Right.
coaching, I got
Yeah.
counseling, I got
Mm.
things that changed my mental aspect of what I thought I was bringing to the
Oh
world.
my
Guess what,
goodness.
everybody? Things completely changed, and didn't change my staff. They
Mhm.
could feel the energy shift. They could feel that I was confident in trusting what I was giving the world. And guess what? They started
Mhm.
trusting when I gave them things or delegated things or started going all in because they're like, wow, I actually believe in
It
this
made
company
sense.
because she believes in it. And again, some of
Yeah.
us can be very unconscious, everyone. Someone's not necessarily going to come up to you, a team member, and say, I don't believe, Jennifer, in what you're doing. But what we
Right.
find often when they're feeling that, not from Jennifer, it's
Mhm.
going to translate into how they move out. So, everyone, I might encourage you to start with that first before
Mhm.
you start going after, are they doing something wrong? Before you start going
So
after,
good.
is it a system that's wrong? I'm not
Mm.
saying that's not true too. I work with plenty of teams that we have to go over that piece too.
Sure.
But what I find when we start with this piece first, everybody, like look at the energetics behind what you as a leader bring
Mhm.
to the table. All this other stuff of maybe some tweaks have to do with the employee that doesn't quite engage. It gets so easy. They're trusting you.
Wow.
Did you know, everyone, I want you to know this, that I get into science and neuroscience all the time. Truth is the highest frequency. This is why people are drawn to people that are just speaking their truth, even if they don't fully
Mhm.
agree with their truth. They like that because it's a very high frequency trait, just like
Mm.
faith, it's just like
Mhm.
trust. Like it's a very high frequency trait.
Sure.
You're in your truth and you're doing what you say you want to do, and you're confident in what you're saying you're going to do.
Mhm.
People are drawn to that. They
That's
unconsciously
so
want to
good.
give their time and their performance. So I know
Yeah.
I'm really drilling this in the ground, everyone, but this is high level stuff that is missed all the time.
100%.
Leaders, when they come to me with quote problem teams, and
Mhm.
I say to all of them, everyone, I'm not kidding, like, I don't need to know your numbers, I don't need to know how your staff is doing, complain about them, I need to know about you. And we
Woo!
start going in what they're bringing to the surface that they don't even know
Mhm. But
consciously.
they don't even
Once
know.
we get through that, everything else gets easy. You guys, I'm
Yeah.
not kidding you. So really start reflecting on, if you're frustrated with team or a team member, what
Mhm.
are you bringing to the table? This is where you have to be willing to
Ooh,
get
that's so
super
good.
honest. Side note, leaders, the difference between you and management or you and just a staff member is
Mhm.
you're very intentional, you're very mindful, and you're very present in the
Mhm.
moment. You
That's
are
so good.
watching your action and the reaction. And what is it about you that you're bringing to the table to cause that? It
Mhm.
doesn't mean they don't have things on the other side. But when you start understanding your influence, I'm kidding you not, everyone. When I
Mhm.
started getting that and
Mhm.
changing my confidence, changing my energy, changing my thought processes, I
Yeah.
literally could watch a room change to
Right.
my favor. And I don't mean in a manipulative way, everybody.
Right.
In
Sure.
the way that when I know I'm in there to do something for good,
Mhm.
I started changing that energy, and it was like bees to honey of what I
So
got
good.
from my staff. So use this
So
technique
good.
at high level. This is what I teach in my coaching program, and I go
Mhm.
further on how to get into your frequency and get really
Yeah.
truthful so you can shift that if it's coming from you, and then
Mhm.
how it can really then influence and then stimulate a better productivity and investment from your team.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if anybody else feels like they're drinking from a fire hose right now, because that is so good. And there's so much stuff in there. I want to ask you something else though, Jennifer. So leadership, and you
Yes.
said frequency.
Yeah.
And this is what came to mind. Men and women vibrate at different frequencies.
Mhm.
Men and women of different ages vibrate at different frequencies. Men and women of a certain age and experience vibrate at different frequencies.
Yes.
How do you deal with, say, for instance, a 60 plus year old female who's been in business for 32 years and has built a successful company
Mm.
versus a 30-year-old male who's been in business for 7 years and is just starting out?
Yeah, that is such a great question because I have so many bigger businesses that are expanding and they're hiring a
Mm-hmm.
lot of younger people, a lot of like the 20s and 30 years old versus some of the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and knowing how to get the team to be on the same page.
Right.
Here's the deal, everybody, is what you just said. When I help hire teams or when I've hired teams, it's really honestly going through a 3-phase interview process. The reason for that is with your current staff, you want to know if this person that you're wanting to hire is going to fit in well. That's going
Mm-hmm.
to save you a lot of time. And that
Right.
3-phase process includes you not only interviewing, I have them also take a personality test. I have them
Nice.
come in and integrate with the team. And you get to then observe and view, not only from a structural interview, not only
Mm-hmm.
from assessing their personality test, but also seeing them in real time.
Right.
Because no matter what they say they need,
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot in 3 stages. So I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
that first and foremost, everyone, it sounds like it's a long process. I have a specific way I do that and I
Mm-hmm.
teach people to do it, but it is worth the time if you're going to pull someone in that is a different age. Honestly, you guys, different sex, different race. You guys, it is
Mm-hmm.
important if we want to create diversity in our business, but at the same time, know who is going to be able to work best with us. You need
Yeah.
to have a lengthy interview process. You get to see them behaviorally
Mm-hmm.
versus just hearing them speak what they need, they desire.
Right. Yeah.
That's number one. Part of that number one process, too, as I just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and I use a couple different personality tests. I think it's really important. We're not personality tests, but it does give you a
Sure.
window into communication, what they're
Mm-hmm.
motivated by. If you get the right personality test, again, I can give you guys some ideas on that are shorter personality tests because it allows you to find out what their motives are and how they
Mm-hmm.
work best and who they work
Right.
with. So all that to
Wow.
say, assessing that and how that moves into your
Mm-hmm.
business. The
Yeah.
second thing I would honestly really look at
Mm-hmm.
for people, and this came up everybody post 2020, and I think it's a very important question. When you actually start working with people, you really want to know what their goals are, not only for the company. We ask that all the time. Like, well, how do you
Mm-hmm.
climb up the ladder? Do you see yourself doing like it? That's important. But
Mm-hmm.
we need to absolutely ask this question. What are your personal goals? Like, how
Oh,
is
good.
this working for us going
Mm-hmm.
to support you personally? Like, what is your personal goals in life?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why that is important, you're going to find the underlying motive of why they're going to do what they do for you. I don't care why you hire
Mm-hmm.
them. For some people, by
That's
the way,
good.
male versus female, I'm going to say this, you guys, and this is not always the case, but generalization.
Mm-hmm.
Men often are more driven by money
Mm-hmm.
versus women is not. And I'm not saying I love money, but I'm just going to kind
Yeah.
of use, okay? When you ask like a question like, what are you personally driven by? They will
Mm-hmm.
answer like, I want to have time to do this and time freedom and maybe buy this, buy that. For women, you may get an answer like, I want to create impact with my gift. I believe I want to start my own business someday. And like you'll
Wow.
get what
Mm-hmm.
their underlying motive is. When you hear it from the horse's mouth and not ask it in a work type setting saying, what can I get from you? But actually ask them
Right.
like, what do you personally want out of life? You get the real answer.
Wow.
And that is a power move because then you find out what they're motivated by truly to be
Mm-hmm.
doing their skill set for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the
That's so
reason
good.
why that's important is it's going to help you. So 60-year-old Jane, who's been running
Mm-hmm.
business for 30 years versus the 30-year-old male, like you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
they may be motivated by different things, but if you
Right.
give them support in their motives,
Mm-hmm. Woo.
this is going to help them connect more powerfully and have more bandwidth
Mm-hmm.
to understand each other. Now,
Yeah.
where they come from as far as how they view things, because one's older, one's younger, one has more experience, one not. I
Mm-hmm.
teach a huge process on communication framework that's a higher level emotional intelligence, and I integrate neurolinguistic processing where we utilize words
Okay.
tone, body frame to
Mhm.
allow two people that may see things differently to still be empowered and
Mhm.
feed off each other's ideas, no matter if it
Mhm.
ends up going one way or the other. Okay.
Right.
So that's the next layer for people.
Mhm.
But you'll be surprised when you do a lengthy,
Mhm.
process to even find if this person is going to have opportunities to really do well with your company and the people that are in
Right.
your team. Number two, personality testing, because you can really find out underlying motives. And number three, when you ask an indirect question, like I asked about what do you really want personally from life, they
Mhm.
get a lot more honest and you find out their underlying motives. So whatever
Sure.
task you have for them, when you support them in that space, they're not
Mhm.
only going to excel more in the thing that you individually want them to do, but they're
Mhm.
going to have more bandwidth for when they
Mhm.
have tension or disagreements with someone that may come from it from a different space. And then
Yeah.
from that point, I just literally did a communication with emotional intelligence framework for a
Mm.
team that has
Mhm.
this dichotomy of people kind of
Mhm.
coming from different eras. And we went
Right.
through it beautifully once we did some of the framework I'm talking about to get them all
Mhm.
on the same page that they're motivated and they're excited to be in the room with
Wow.
each other. And from there,
Mhm.
a lot of this communication gets really easy. Then you start leveraging each other's skill sets from
Sure.
because
That
we
is
all in the room
huge.
have them. So yeah, I would say you have
Oh
to
my
start
gosh.
with those things, and then it gets a
Mhm.
little bit more layered as you start
Mhm.
dealing with complexity of maybe solutions and problems at hand. But that's a
Mhm.
good place to start. And again, I'm always about the big domino. You guys, I'm a
Yeah.
practitioner, wellness PT practitioner by trade, and I'm telling you, when you do some of this underlying work at the beginning, it gets
Mhm.
really easy when you come up with a complex problem where two are maybe kind of combating a little bit on what the
Yeah.
solution is. You'd be surprised how much more bandwidth they will have and willingness to communicate when you layer it in this step-by-step way that I just mentioned.
Sure. Wow, that is so good. Jennifer, people are watching right now thinking, oh my God, I need to talk to her. Where is the best place for folks to find you?
Yes. So the best place is my website, jenniferwatsonleadership.com. You'll see the different core speeches that I speak on. I'm a speaker and I speak across the country on aspects of leadership, mental wellness, resilience, and performance. You can go there and I'd be more than happy to connect with you and see how I can support you or if you have questions on this podcast. I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn as well as Instagram. So reach out to me there. I answer my own DMs, but definitely holler out if you have questions on this episode and reach out to me on my website and we'll have a conversation and see how I can support you.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. Don't worry, everybody. If you didn't get that information, everything will be in the description below. And don't forget, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram as well. Jennifer, my friend, before I let you go, we need to play a game real fast.
Absolutely.
Because you've told us
I love
all the things about leadership, but now we need to learn about you. So
I
this
love it.
game is super simple. It's called What's Your Favorite? I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. You're going to tell me what your favorite is. Are you
I
ready
love
to
it.
play, my friend?
I love it. I love these kind of games. I'm so excited.
All right, let's play. All right, Jennifer, what is your favorite kitchen gadget?
Oh my gosh, the wine corkscrew opener.
Check, please. I'm done. That is perfect. That is so good. What is your favorite app on your phone?
Oh my gosh. I would say, oh gosh, that's a hard one for me. I would say YouTube. I love YouTube app. I do a lot on YouTube. I have a lot of
Mhm.
videos on there, but I love learning from YouTube. YouTube by far would be my
Yeah.
favorite. Yep.
Okay. What is your favorite time of year?
Fall for sure. And it's partly because my birthday month is in November
Whoop,
and my
whoop,
favorite
whoop.
holiday is Thanksgiving. So
And so
absolutely
it should
fall.
be. I love it. I love fall. Mostly I like food. So there's that. Speaking of food, what is your favorite cuisine?
Oh my gosh, I love a sirloin steak with asparagus and garlic mashed potatoes.
Oh my gosh. That was strangely specific, but I am here for it. What is your favorite Olympic sport?
Oh my gosh, I ran track in college, everyone, so it'd have to be track and field, but I do truly love all sports. We have a lot of athletes in our family.
Mm,
Football, basketball, swimming, like I love it all, but track and field absolutely takes the cake.
okay, I love track and field as well. What is your favorite downtime activity?
Oh my gosh, I would actually say going on a hike in the Colorado Rockies.
Oh wow.
in laying by a lake after a long hike and reading. I love that. I'm very active, I'm very physically fit, and I love doing things outdoors. But at
Mhm.
the end of something physical, I love to just rest in nature and read like a
Yeah.
novel, a book, and either by myself or with a couple friends. Believe it or not, as
Yeah.
a speaker, I'm an introvert. So when I'm away from the hundreds of people I'm supporting, I like to just
Mhm.
have me or like a friend and just hang out and enjoy nature
Yeah.
and read and just breathe that in.
I love it. And finally, Jennifer, what is your favorite advice that you've ever given?
Oh my gosh. There's so much and it's changed and evolved over the years, but I will say this. Sometimes you have to take a leap and build your wings on the way down.
Mm, wow.
Leaders, whatever you're leading, you're the one leading it. You're probably going to have more problems than the average person because you're leading the way. And those be
Mhm.
times where you're going to have to just step in faith, not even knowing the answer ahead, and maybe even being willing to face plant. That's part of leadership too. And I talk a lot about resilience in my
Mhm.
programs and in my speeches because being a leader will require you to take leaps of faith
Yeah,
without always knowing the next step
so
and even
true.
maybe face planning and having to shift the boat and move on. So probably my favorite quote of all time and my best advice I can give you is sometimes you will have to take a leap
Mhm.
and build your wings on the way down. But trust me, my friend, my dear leader, you will be caught. Continue.